Hello and season greetings to everybody. This is a Huddersfield Town preview. The season's back. The Euros are over. We can forget about England. We can concentrate on our one true love in Huddersfield Town, and we're delighted to be back. As ever, for the Town previews, I'm delighted to have Callum and Zach on the show. My two brethrens here, and yeah, it's great to see you boys. I'm so excited for the season, even though we have dropped down a division. But let's be honest, who's not buzzing for a new season?
Go on, Zach.
Anybody?
Absolutely, mate. I mean, it's the start of the season. It's the chance where we can finish 110 points plus. We could finish on 10 points. You know, all could happen, mate. But I think just feel fresh, and I don't know. I don't think I'll be this excited for a season in a long time. Might be different tonight, but honestly, just a feeling of excitement and I'm not honestly. I've seen it before we came on. I've not really looked below sort of top 10. maybe the expectations are too high, but I don't know. I've just got this optimism. I think speaking to everyone, a lot of fans feel the same. Certainly, my group of friends. You know, I don't think we're going to walk the league by any stretch of the imagination, but I think top six and competing week in week out. Maybe putting 3 or 4 wins together, someone we haven't seen since maybe Wagner's season, Corbrand's season.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, mate. Really excited.
Cal, how are you feeling?
I'm the same. Like this is exactly why I said, and it sounded weird at the time, but it's coming to fruition now that I'm sort of happy we got relegated, because now we get to have a season like this where there's a bit more positivity around the place. You can sort of look towards finishing in a high point in a division rather than going, oh, well, we might finish 19th this year. That'll be nice.
Another relegation scrap. Obviously, we'll get on to today's game where we play in our old sort of enemies in Peterborough United. I'll be honest, I do not like them as a football club. I haven't, to be honest, since that terrible day at Old Trafford. And I was very happy we relegated them the next season. So, and ever since then, we've not really played them. I think we played them once in the Championship, from what I remember. So I hope that we will go there and win 4-0 today. But let's just take it back a few weeks, boys. Obviously, Michael Duff's had now 3 months in the job. Pre-season has gone pretty well, to be honest. First of all, just your thoughts really on the signings that we've made. Lasse Sorensen has come in from Lincoln for a decent amount of money, below 500,000 apparently. Mikael Miller comes in from a free from Plymouth. We've got Herbie Kane, who comes in technically on a free from Barnsley, and Anthony Evans, who comes in from Bristol Rovers, who was there, I think, their player of the season last season. So, we signed a new lad last night from West Ham, Callum Marshall, young sort of striker from West Ham, played a lot of youth football, played a few times for West Ham in their first team, I think in the sort of cup competitions and stuff, and then also made a number of appearances for Northern Ireland and got a few caps there. So, Callum, what have you made to the signings overall? 5, were you expecting more? Are you happy with what we brought in? Kind of what's your thoughts?
I'm happy with what we've brought in. For the level that we're at, I think they are good signings. You can look at the model that Birmingham have gone for and just buying everybody. But I think that the business that we've done has been sensible. We've not sort of paid too much for players that aren't worth the money. From the fees that we do know we've paid, we're looking at decent fees for decent players. And I don't know, for me, it seems like there's a lot more going into the transfers in terms of thinking for the future.
Yeah.
Because we've sort of given Michael Duff more of a hand in these transfers, it would seem, because these are players that he knows this level well, and these are players that he'll have gone to the recruitment guys and gone, right, I want Sorensen, consistent performer in League One. If we want to be up there, we want to be taking the better players off the teams that are going to be around us.
Yeah,
and I agree there. I think I was a little bit nervous. There's two approaches, right? When you get relegated to League One, you go after the players in the Championship that are decent but coming to the end of their careers, or you go for your hungry League One type player that getting in the team of the year the previous season. And I'm glad we've gone down the latter of the two, because it's always a worry that when you go down, you want to get experience, absolutely. But I think we've got that. Like, we've got experience this division in the squad. In some of the players, we've already got like a Tom Lees, a Matty Pearson, Johnny Oggs, some in his early days played in League One, and I think I'm just glad that we've gone down like you said, Colin, getting them players that are hungry, that have proven themselves at Lincoln at this standard. You got Barnsley, Bristol Rovers. It's been a long time since we've gone and taken the best players off of a team in the same division as us. A very long time.
Do you not think, I know what you're saying about sort of younger players, but really, when you look at the ages, they're not like inexperienced lads, are they? They're lads that have actually done it at this level, or in terms of Mikel Miller, played at the level above, and so it's not like we're going for sort of project players like we did with Radoni and there's various others that you can name that we've brought in before, and we're not really sure whether they're going to work or whether they are going to work. And that's what I like this time. I said at the end of last season, when we knew we were going to go down, that we needed to go and buy the best players in League One, and we've definitely tried to do that. Even with a failed attempt to sign Alfie May, we tried to sign the best striker in League One. So I think there's been a sensible approach to it, but I think there's been a very pinpointed approach, and that's what I've liked. And I think they've learned over the last 18 months that you can't kid town fans. There's still a lot of learning to happen. I understand that. And there is, now is the time that the talk is over and you've got to show what you're going to do. But what I will say is they've gone and got one of the best managers that was in League One. They've gone and got some of the best players that were in League One, and or players that have played higher. And to me, that seems like an approach that if you want to get out of this division, then that is the approach to go with.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of that. I think I'm going to contradict myself here a little bit from the last podcast that we'd done, where we was reflecting on what manager we wanted to come in. I think I was maybe a little bit critical of bringing Duff in, just because I was blinded by the time he'd had at Swansea. But what I've seen of the 3 months that he's been here so far, I think it's that nice blend, right? We've got a manager with League One, a good League One record. We've got players with solid League One records, and I think it's a recipe for success. Look, we haven't kicked a ball yet, so we're all getting carried away potentially. But we've had a good solid pre-season. We looked leggy against Limassol, yeah. We looked leggy against them, but since then, everything that Duff said in that post-match press conference is then executed, and you've seen improvements game on game, which for me is all I want in a pre-season. I'm not bothered if we go in 5-0, if we lose 5-0. Yeah. It's just identifying them gaps. Like, we was getting absolutely killed by, they were switching, Limassol was switching the ball from left to right, but because we were pressing so high, we were getting murdered. Yeah. But then in the next game, which I think was against Hertha Berlin, you could see that we'd worked on that in training. There was clear patterns of play that we'd worked on. And for me, that's exciting, because I don't think we've not seen any sort of visible patterns of play, any visible in-game approach or proactive in-game changes since Carlos Corberán. And Neil Warnock was fantastic. He had a game plan he set up, but in-game it was you knew what he was going to do for 90 minutes. Not arguing with that, it worked, right? But then the two managers that came in after then, I genuinely couldn't identify what same. But definitely has a clear identity of play, and I love that.
Yeah, 100%. You are absolutely bang on the money that since Carlos, we haven't had a proper, implemented style of play, which is in the roots of what the squad is. And, even under Warnock, it was more a case of you have to do what you have to do to win, whether the style of play is good or not. And that was fine, because that's what we needed at the time. But in this fresh start, what I love about this pre-season, and I think actually, whether you agree, Cal, I don't know, but I think it's one of the best pre-seasons we've had in a long time. I mean, I'm even probably going back a decade now. The fact that every opponent has been a step up in terms of football ability, where they are in the world in terms of the football club standing, and the fact that the type of opposition that we faced. You go from Limassol, very high energy, sort of attacking, sort of speedy attack, and then you go to Hertha Berlin, who are a very set European team. They have a style of play. They don't press as high, but what they are is very solid in midfield, and got a very, very structured backline. And so you look at the different oppositions and you analyse them, even going back, okay, you can say about Guiseley and Emley, but even them fixtures are going to be useful in terms of the way that the pre-season was set up. I think it was a superb pre-season for us to have.
I think in terms of those first 2 games, Guiseley and Emley, that would have been for Michael Duff to work out what players he can use where, who to utilise where at what times. And then you go over to Austria, and like you say, we play different teams with different styles. But what I saw was something, sort of going back to what Zach said, something that I've not seen Town do in a long time. In fact, I couldn't tell you the last time we did it, was so obviously change our style of play to match the opposition.
Yeah.
It was something that was really good to see, and has obviously continued throughout that pre-season. And then we get to Sheffield United, and what I thought was really good about that was, hearing Chris Wilder speak after the game, he was disappointed at his team's performance against us because they couldn't break us down.
I also thought he was a bit disillusioned because he did say that they dominated the whole of the game, which I didn't. Which I didn't agree with. I thought the first half against Sheffield United, we pressed higher, so we blocked lower, so we had a more structured approach. In the second half, we tried to press higher, but obviously the quality of Sheffield United did show through, and so it was a very different game in the second half. But I think that was a good exercise because of the 2 styles that you'll get in League One. You'll get teams that try and come and play against us, like today against Peterborough, like Bolton, like Rotherham. And then you'll also get your teams such as Cambridge, Northampton and Shrewsbury and Crawley that will sit back against us and try and nip a draw.
And that's why I think that pre-season's been so good, because we've come up against teams with wildly different styles of play and had to react to it, and have done. We've had an answer to whatever the problem tactically has been, which is a far cry from what we've had since Corberan, probably. So
I think just going back to the pre-season friendly as well, I think, the guys in Emley game, everyone was saying you can't take anything from them. But if you look back to the last summer, they would have been the hardest games you'd have had in pre-season.
Yeah.
Genuinely. So and then just to add to Callum's point, I think what I liked about the Sheffield United game specifically is that, we're going to come up against a lot of teams this season, probably in the region of about 14 teams that will let us have the ball. So that second half is going to be something that we probably face maybe 14 times throughout the season, where we won't have as much of the ball, and we've got to be resolute and strong. And the fact that we're able to do that and we're building character within a side is, to do that in pre-season is, normally you're not bothered if you're too open in pre-season or if you score. But he clearly went into that second half saying, look, we do not concede here.
Yeah. And to be fair, the goal that we did concede was really, I mean, you could say that the defence should have reacted quicker, but it wasn't looking. Lee Nichols made an unbelievable save.
I'm surprised Nichols is still here, to be honest.
Obviously I want to get on to sort of squad and stuff, but just to wrap up pre-season, obviously there's been good performances in there. I think we've seen, one of the most surprising performances. And the other thing that I want to say is what I love is that how fit the players look. I mean, they look like they've been ran ragged, but not to the point where they're going to be sort of out of energy on the today. Hopefully we'll see that. But it's one of the most impressive performances has been Ben Wiles. I think he's been excellent in pre-season in most of the games that I've seen. I think he's only had maybe one or two not brilliant sort of performances, but nothing compared to how lackluster and unfit and that he was at the end of last season. I don't know if you lads agree with that, Zach.
Yeah, he's unhooked that 8-berth caravan that he was towing around last season. It just looks a different player, mate. I mean, it's mad how a bit of confidence and maybe an arm around the shoulder, what it can do to a player. I think, maybe I'm sympathising with Ben. I'm being too nice today, but I'm sympathising with Ben Wiles a little bit, right? Because he's come from a Rotherham team that was battling for promotion the season before, really positive dressing room. And then he's been signed by Neil Warnock. No matter what anyone says, it was a Neil Warnock signing. He pressed for Ben Wiles. 6 games into his season that he signed, the manager that backed him is sacked. And then all of a sudden, what's been asked of him under Darren Moore is probably very different to what he was used to at Rotherham and what's been asked of him by Warnock. So he didn't have much of the ball in sort of attacking areas. And that's probably where he's at his best. I mean, that strike against Sheffield United is a great finish. That's a sign of a player with confidence. So I think, I'm going to give him last season. I'm going to let him off the hook. Loved what he's done in pre-season. Slightly concerned he picked up a knock against Sheffield United. I believe he went off. Potentially a doubt for today, which is a shame. But positive, mate.
Callum?
Yeah, I think I'm with Zach on pretty much all of that. The players look fitter, they look stronger. Tactically, they're more aware of each other. How many times last year did we, certainly me, come on here and complain about players passing into space with nobody running onto the end of the ball?
Yeah.
I'm still angry about
quite
that.
a lot, Callum. Quite a lot,
Still
Callum.
angry about that.
But look, we got relegated, Callum, so everything you're saying was spot on, mate.
Well, yeah, true.
I mean,
all right, don't make his head too big.
But now we're looking at a side that, is looking to pick out the man, knows where his player's going to be, knows where he's being backed up from. Tactically, we're much more coherent than we were last season, I think. And that is because we've got a manager that's come in, steadied the ship, put his arm around a couple of players, and I'm assuming he's had a go at a couple of other players. But he said in his first press conference, the words he used were, talk is cheap.
Yeah, and it is.
Performances. And so far, everything that he said in his press conferences about what we're trying to do with tactics, we've seen on the pitch. So positive so far. Obviously, it's a long season. Lots is going to happen. But based on what we can see so far, Michael Duff's the one for me.
Yeah, I really like him. I think I to be honest, what he says, how he talks is a lot better than the Brian Wright was and more. But what I also like is that there seems to be some substance under that talk as well, Zach. And that's what I think we all appreciate as Town fans, that we don't want to be sat here and talk to like we're idiots. And I think sometimes we have had that over the last sort of 2 years, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I agree. I mean, look, I'm absolutely excited by what I've heard him say, what I've seen him do. Seems like the players have looked more together than they have done. I mean, obviously, we heard Brighton Wright's pretty damning assessment of the dressing room towards the back end of last year. It would appear that he's sorted that. Let's see, right? I mean, he's not had to pick a team yet. So let's see what the lads that don't make the starting 11 or don't make the squad react like. It's easy to please everyone when everyone's getting minutes in pre-season. We'll see how they react after today and over the course of the season. But yeah, I like him, mate. I'm not getting carried away because we haven't kicked a ball yet. And 7:30 tonight we could get pumped 3-0 and we'll all be saying, like the team in pre-season. So, but yeah, positive, mate. Positive.
Good. Right, let's go quickly through sort of most of the positions, just see whether we're happy, lads, with what we've got in there. Start with the goalkeepers, Lee Nichols. Zach, as you said, I think we're all a bit surprised that maybe Lee's still here. We got Chris Maxwell and Jacob Chapman as third young goalkeeper who had a very good stint at Rochdale last season on loan. Are we surprised that Lee's still here? I think the thing that really, the only thing that caveats that is is he going to be number one anywhere else? You know, there was a talk that he was going to go to Swansea. I think there was some chat that he was going to maybe go to Sheffield United. But it seems like those teams have decided to go elsewhere. And there's nobody else really that's looking around for a number one, particularly in the Championship right now, Cal.
No, I think you're spot on there, mate. You know, there's a lot of talk about him going, certainly in the early days of the transfer window, but I think it does come down to that. And he will know that. So I don't think he'd have been pushing for a move, because how many sides, certainly higher up than League One in the Championship, how many sides does Lee Nichols walk in as number one? You know, most sides have a settled goalkeeper. You're looking at him getting in first team, probably any team in League One. But why would you make that move if you're already in League One?
So are you happy with the goalkeeping situation?
Definitely. I think if we can keep hold of Nichols, brilliant. But even if we'd have lost Nichols, I'd have been happy with Chris Maxwell. You know, he put in some really decent performances for Blackpool when he were there. He's a keeper that knows this level and knows their expectations. So yeah, I think we're all right in terms of goalkeepers. That's not one we're going to have to worry about.
Zach?
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. Good mixture of experience and obviously Chapman coming back in from Rochdale. I think he's a great third choice goalkeeper. I think he'll be on the heels of Maxwell this season and his second choice if we keep Nichols. If we lose Nichols, then probably need to get another keeper in. But we'll cross that bridge. But I'm happy with what we've got, mate, if we can keep him.
Good. Michael Duff plays a 5-3-2, so I'll go firstly on the right wing back role. Technically, we have got Brodie Spencer there. We've also got Ollie Turton, and technically Ruffles can do a job there, but obviously, you know, he's more left-sided, to be fair. Are we needing sort of another right wing back? Obviously, we brought Lasse Sorensen in, you know, to play sort of in that role. I predict he will play the majority of games, probably not the cup games, but definitely the majority of league games unless he gets an injury. So, you know, with Sorensen and probably Brodie Spencer being the backup, are we happy there, or do we think we need to get anybody in at right wing back? Zach?
No, I don't think the wing back positions to me are our concern. I think I'm comfortable with what we've got. I think sometimes you can overload the wing back positions, and I know he plays a 5 at the back, and it's an important position, high energy position. And the players that we've got there are notorious for a knock or two. But I think that's not an area that I would be overly concerned if we didn't strengthen further.
Yeah, Zach, Callum.
I'm the same. You know, it's what we've got is good, and we'll only need tweaking, I think, should injuries come up, or, you know, certain, we don't know how these players are going to play in day out. So if we need to move things around, then it might need a bit of tweaking. But as it is written down on paper, it works for me.
And that same for the left wing back role, obviously, in Miller and Headley, and I know Ruffles can play there as well. You know, we're quite stacked there, aren't we? Anyway.
Yeah, same again. I think good. I mean, obviously we forgot Matty Pearson at right back as well.
Shut up! If he plays right wing back this season, then we are in trouble. We are.
I think, like I said, I think left back's another position that I'm comfortable with. I think, you know, I'm excited to see Jaheim Headley this season.
Yeah.
I think it could be the making of him. I think he's, you know, he'd done well at Championship level. I think switched off at times, but I think maybe getting a more consistent run of games, but also if he does need a rest, having the opportunity to get a breather because we've got backup there this season.
Is Headley your preferred choice to Miller then?
I haven't seen much of Miller. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen much of Miller. But I would start Headley because I like him going forward. But I think we're stacked at left back, so I'm happy.
Yeah, Callum.
Yeah, I think one thing we've made sure is that we've got cover in every position that's good enough that we don't have to do the sort of make do and mend job that we've seen a couple of times. Certainly last season and the season before with all the injuries, we've had to stick players into positions that they weren't supposed to play and that's reflected in what's happened during the game. I think we're in a position this year where we've covered ourselves to make sure that that isn't going to happen, and we play in a system now that maybe makes sure that there's more versatility in the sides, that if you lose a right wing back, maybe you can switch to a 4-back and just play with a right back rather than a wing back.
Yeah. We've got in centre back, we've got Matty Pearson still, Tom Lees, Michael Hellick is still around. Although again, I'm a bit surprised that he's not left. We've also got, I think they're going to try and bring Brodie Spencer into being a centre back. And we've lost Bolker to injury, which I don't think anybody's surprised at. And he seems like the most unluckiest man in, well, British football ever, to be honest. Are we a bit worried that sort of centre back is looking a little slow? I mean, it's been slow for a few years, but they're all a year older now, and obviously Bolker's not around, and he's probably our quickest centre back. And are we worried that Hellick might go late in the window, Cal?
Worried that Hellick might go late in the window, yes. Just as I've been worried about him going in the window at all. I hope it doesn't, because if he does, for me, that defensive unit becomes much weaker. Without the experience of Hellick, especially at this level, and what he can provide in games, I think that defensive unit becomes much weaker. And I hope if he does go later in the window, we get the chance to get somebody in that can match the caliber of Michael Hellick, because that's a massive loss, especially this late in the window with the season about to start. If we lost him now, I think we'd need almost immediately to get somebody of his caliber to replace him. That being said, I think if he was going to go, he would have gone by now.
Jack?
Yeah, I think obviously I'm gutted about Bolker, because the 4 or 5 games I've seen him play, I think he's comfortable on the ball, and I think he'd have been unbelievable at League One level. But look, when he comes back fit, hopefully in January, it might be like a new signing. He might get injured again, but positives, trying to think positively. I think you say we're short of pace. I completely agree. I think Spencer is the probably outlier of that. I think Spencer has got some wheels on him, and I think if we play him in a back 3, I think he's comfortable there.
Please use that term again, by the way. He's got wheels on him. I love that term.
He has got wheels on him. And then Tom Lees never lets us down. Obviously, had an injury towards the back end of last season. So, again, if we can keep Hellick, Spencer, and Tom Lees as a back 3, that's solid at League One. That is solid back 3. However, if we lose 1 or 2 of them, I think Ollie Turton can do a job in a back 3. I think he almost feels like a replacement for a Spencer in a back 3. Not as pacey, but that sort of player, similar height. I think we need.
And Ruffles can play there, can't he, as well? I think he has played in the back 3 as well.
Yeah, but we do not want to go into a season where we're putting round pegs in square holes. Let's get the players in the door that we need. And I even would argue that we need another pacey centre half, even if we keep Hellick.
Yeah.
It would be my opinion. If we'd have kept Bolker, I'd have said we're settled. If Bolker was fit, I think we'd have been settled.
Yeah.
We just missed that one other centre half with a pair of wheels on them.
Get your comments in, by the way. Lewis Sales said that obviously part of the show. Cheers, Lou, for tuning in. He has said that he's been impressed with Michael Duff in pre-season and thinks we've got stand a good chance of going up with Duff's settled system. Let's hope so, mate. Moving on to the midfield, we've brought in Herbie Kane, we've got Anthony Evans, we've got David Kasumu, Johnny Ogg, Ben Wiles, and Tom Ipienda. The young lad who's impressed during pre-season. I'll be honest, I'm pretty happy with midfield. I'd maybe like another one if we can get one. It can be a Premier League loan though. For me, I'm not as worried about midfield. I think we've that was the one area last. I mean, there was lots of areas last season, if we're being honest, but midfield was one area where I was kind of We need more. There's no dynamism in there, and I think we've got that now. I like, hopefully if Ben Wild stays fit, he's the attacking element. Herbie Kane looks like the solid sort of League One player, and he likes to give it out, by the way, like in the Sheffield United game, which I loved. And Anthony Evans I think he could be the signing of the season. If I'm being honest, I really like the look of him. And how nice is it to have a proper set piece taker, lads? The fact that somebody can strike a free kick properly. I mean, we haven't had. I would say we haven't had one of them since Pilkington properly, to be honest. Callum, are you happy with midfield, or what would you like to see?
I think we are strongest probably in midfield this year. I think that's
mental, isn't it? We haven't said that since when?
Exactly.
I absolutely agree, mate. It's mental.
It's nuts, but I think that speaks to the quality of the recruitment this year. And we did have decent players in there. Like we say, Ben Wiles, he's a decent player, and especially for this level. Now that he's got his fitness right, now that he's had a proper pre-season, now that he's had his confidence built instead of destroyed every week, we might actually see some of the Ben Wiles that we should have signed.
Yeah. Zach?
Yeah, I agree. I think, we, as I just mentioned, we've not really had a midfield that we've said, oh, this is a decent midfield going into the season for as long as I can remember. And it's the heartbeat of a Duff team, right? You need a strong midfield. You need midfield that's got legs in it.
Yeah.
Who I'm excited about, and this might be a little bit controversial, but David Kasumu. I don't know why League One just screams his level for me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, like at MK Dons, he was unbelievable. Like when we got him in from MK Dons, and I was thinking, be an absolutely unbelievable sign. Championship was maybe with his injuries and stuff, was maybe and also having Jonathan Hogg next to him, ironically, might have actually not helped him.
Well, they don't work together, do they? They don't.
No. So
yeah.
All right. So, but we're stacked in the midfield. We've actually got midfielders that are willing to shoot, willing to get forward, willing to be that third body in the box.
Pass a ball.
Yeah, pass the ball, mate. So if we did not sign another midfield, I'd be buzzing. I think
I'd like one more. If we can get one more, but that's a bit greedy. I'm being greedy there.
Keeping them happy then, isn't it, Stephen? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think there was talk about this Joe Hodge coming in from Wolves. Apparently, he's training with Hibs. I don't know how, sort of whether we're still looking at that, but let's move on to the area of controversy. Because I think we're sort of settled pretty much with everywhere else. Strikers, my God, what an absolute cluster is the striking situation. Just to read off, we have got a number of strikers at the club, probably more than most League One clubs. We've got Danny Ward, we've got Reece Healey, we've got technically Josh Karoma, technically Pat Jones, we've got Carl Hudlin. We've let go of Tyrese Simpson, and we've got Bojan Radulovic, and now we've got Callum Marshall. So that's technically 8 players that can play in the forward positions. Zach,
yeah,
people still want a new striker, and we're looking at Joe Taylor from oh my God, I forgot Luton. Luton, who was on loan at Lincoln last season. I'll just give my assessment. I think Reece Healey can score 15 plus goals in this league. 100%. I believe he's good enough. I've seen him pre-season. He looks quality. I think as long as he's injury free, I think he'll be our top striker. I think Danny Ward is Danny Ward, does Wardy things. Like sometimes gets injured, sometimes doesn't shoot, sometimes plays a blinder. So it's just Danny Ward all over. I think Josh Karoma can score in this league, although he had a bad loan at Portsmouth a couple of years ago and didn't really do anything. And in fact, they sent him back. But I'm sure if Josh actually sort of gets his backside in gear, he can play. Bojan Radulovic, I know this might sound a bit harsh, but the guy just don't do it for me. From what I've seen in pre-season, he just doesn't look fit. I know he's going to be injured now for 6 weeks, from what Duff said in his press conference, and he's not strong enough. I think Pat Jones is a young kid, and so is Harrott. I forgot Harrott as well. They're both young kids and not really proven, although Harrott's playing a few more games than Jones. Just depends if he does anything naughty. And Carl Woodlin, unfortunately, is just not good enough for this level. And so I really, really do feel that we do need to sign another striker, Zach.
Okay, a lot to digest there. Agree with some of it, disagree with some of it, as you would imagine. Yes, on Reece Healy, if he can stay fit, I think he's a 15, 20 goal a season striker at this level. Danny Ward, who knows, right? I mean, he's performed at this level previously. Yes, he's a few years older. Who knows? So great to have in the squad, I think. Would I want to start him week in, week out? Probably not. Josh Karoma, he's not really played at this level in a front two, so really hard to judge him. I think when he went out of Pompey, he was playing out wide in a 4-4-2.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Really hard to judge him. I don't necessarily think he's a striker. I know Warnock did it quite a lot with him and Thomas up in a two. So we'll leave that one. I think, again, Karoma to have at this level is a great squad player. He can come on and play number 10, or he can come on and play as an out-and-out winger if we be proactive in games and go to a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Radulovic scored a hat-trick in pre-season for the B team inside 30 minutes, I believe, and then got injured. So that is probably, in 30 minutes, a story of his time at Huddersfield Town, right? I mean, that goal he scored against Stoke, took it really well.
Yeah.
Done nothing else. Few good minutes away at Blackburn, but again, another frustrating one, because I don't know why I think there's a player in there. Really frustrating that he's got injured again, and I was hoping that he'd kick on this season. So yeah, gutted about that. Pat Jones, we say he's a young kid. He's 21. If it's not now in League One, when is it?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. No.
Again, don't think he's a striker.
No,
think he's more of a winger, but we don't play wingers under standard Duff formation, so leaves him a little bit vulnerable. Wouldn't be surprised if he went out to a lower end League One or League Two team, in all honesty. Hudlin, yeah. Kean Harrott, again, could do all right at League One, right? But I don't know. I don't know if he'll be here at the end of the window, because I'm just not sure that he's going to get enough game time that he wants. I won't be surprised if he moves on a permanent somewhere, if I'm being honest. And then Marshall, who came in last night, again, great numbers, but then so did Meepo when he came in from West Ham, if you remember.
Yeah.
So I'll hold judgment on that. Again, it's a risk-free transfer, in my opinion. So yeah, in short, we've got some good bits, some not so good bits, some lads that need to go out and get game time or move on permanently. And we have to get another different sort of striker through the door, in my opinion. Whether that be Taylor from Luton, I'd be very surprised if he steps down to this league, to a League One level. I think he's much better than that. And if we are putting all of our eggs in that basket, well, we've been here before, haven't we? And ended up with no one. So, yeah. So we'll see, mate. But we've got enough for the start of the season, but hopefully get one more in.
So are you not as desperate as what other fans are to get another striker in? Because I'm sensing that you're happy, but if we get one, we get one. But if we don't, you're not as worried.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because you say you've got 8 strikers on paper there, but we just don't score enough goals. So we clearly need another striker, right? We've not scored enough goals for 2 seasons. So what was it, 48 goals last season, something daft. So we do need another striker. And if we lose Hellick, we're probably losing 10 goals there as well.
Callum?
Yeah, I'm going the same way as that there, to be fair. I'm just for a side that doesn't score enough goals. We've got 8 strikers on the books.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think we're all on the same page, aren't we?
Get rid of him.
100%. 100%. I was trying to be nice. Get rid of him. Like Kean Harrott, surely. It's time to move on, mate. Surely you can see that.
But even Pat Jones, yeah, he's 21, but like Zach says, if it's not now, it's not going to be. And let's be honest, it ain't going to be now. Yeah.
Well, the only thing I'd say about Pat Jones is, right,
I like him.
He's something a little bit to me. When we've watched Harrott, he just doesn't look quality enough. I think we've all discounted Udlin, to be honest. I think, the thing about Pat Jones is he's mega quick, and I think he will be one of the quickest people in this league by a country mile. So, if he's fit, then he's a useful, even on the wing back role. If you potentially, right, if we're playing against Crawley and whatever, and they're just sat deep and they're not doing anything, you might as well chuck him on instead of another fullback, can't you? Because there's no point of having a more defensive fullback on. So I think it's worth keeping him around, but I just think we need somebody who's proven at this level. I was taking absolute pelters in the WhatsApp group the other day for having a young strike, they're saying about loans coming in from Premier League clubs. But I just think we need somebody who's proven at this level, Cal.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I just think we need a little bit more presence in the area, somebody a bit stronger, because, as we've said before, we're going to have to play against teams that are going to sit in a low block. They're going to be difficult to break down. We don't need strikers that are trying to dilly-dally about the box. You just need somebody that's going to get their head down, fire a shot off.
Yeah. Right, we'll come on to today's game because Zach's got some travelling to do. In terms of it's against Peterborough, as I said, one of our old enemies. Zach, I think you're setting off in a bit. So, what are you thinking about today's game?
It's gonna be a tough start, isn't it? I think it's going to be a real marker as to where this squad currently is. You don't win or lose a game at the start of the season, so you don't win or lose the league at the first game of the season. But I think it's great to go if we can go down and get a result. I'd probably be happy with a draw away at Peterborough, on the grand scheme of things. So I'm going to go 2-2, mate, I think.
You're going 2-2. You're not as confident for a win?
No, look, it can go either way, right? Peterborough have lost a few players, kept hold of a few players, which I'm surprised they've managed to keep hold of. I don't know if they'll be in the starting lineup today, because I believe there's a few players that are currently being actively approached at Peterborough, so whether or not they risk them or not, I'm not sure. So it all depends on who's available for them, also who's available for us. I think I'd love to win, mate, but I'm just being realistic, right? We're still on a journey with this team. I think it'll be a draw.
Your just before you go, Zach, your top 6 and bottom 4, mate, for the league.
Yeah, so I wrote this down earlier, so 2 seconds. So top 2, I'm going to go so boring. I'm going to go Birmingham to win the league. I'm going to go Rotherham to finish 2nd.
Okay.
And then my teams in the playoffs. So Huddersfield to finish 3rd.
Yeah.
I've got Charlton to finish 4th.
Yeah.
Bolton in 5th. Yeah. And I've got Wrexham in 6th, with Peterborough just missing out.
Oh wow. Okay, you've gone Wrexham. Cool.
Yeah, I just think that they've signed quite well. By all accounts, they've got another couple of bodies coming in this week, I've seen on Twitter. So yeah, I think they're strengthened quite well. Would love them to go down. I can't stand them. Can't stick the whole euphoria around them.
You haven't watched the documentary, then?
Someone's not a fan of Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I have Disney Plus, but I'm not watching that, mate. I'm not funding League One opposition. Okay.
I love it. It's been tactical, Cal. I love it.
And then to go down,
I've
got Bristol Rovers, which is probably a controversial one. So finish 4th, bottom 4, isn't it? 4th bottom.
Yeah, 4th bottom. Yeah,
because I think they've lost quite a lot of decent players. Anthony Evans being one of them. I've got Crawley to go down, 3rd bottom. I've got Shrewsbury 2nd bottom, and then I've got Northampton to finish rock bottom.
Okay.
And I think a surprise there is a lot of people think Cambridge will go down, but I think they've got enough to stay up. I think they've got. I think
they're banking very much on Gary Monk, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, of course they are, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is unfortunate for any.
Which is unfortunate for them, yeah.
But yeah, that's my prediction, mate. And I'm gonna have to shoot anyway. But thank you for having me, lads.
Yeah, no worries, Zach. Well, safe journey down, but
thanks,
mate, and we'll see you on the telly.
Cheers, gents. Thank you. Thanks.
Bye. Right, Callum, we'll wrap this up. We'll wrap this up very quickly, but your thoughts on the game this evening, mate, because obviously Sky have determined that we have to kick off at stupid times. But yeah,
I'm looking forward to the amount of town fans that are going to get to the stadium at 3:00 and be told it's not till 5:30.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a tight game. You know, our first game back in League One for Christ knows how many years.
12. It's 12 years, mate.
12 years. So I don't really know what to expect, but I think my heart says tight 1-0 Town.
Yeah. I think it's going to be tight, innit?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult two sides that play enough system that is difficult to break down. So the ball's going to be played a lot in the air and in midfield.
I'm confident now. I think I think there's people underestimating us, mate. If I'm being honest, I've watched a lot of League One previews this week, and I think a lot of people are underestimating us. We didn't get mentioned on Sky, and I think I just think we'll go there and win 2-0. I just think
it always goes that way, though, doesn't it? With us, everyone always either forgets about us or underestimates us.
Yeah, I just can see us turning up today, and Michael Duff going, right, you go out and you perform, and we start off well. Yeah. And I know that they'll be saying the same thing, but I just think he's got this steely determination of, right, you will do what I tell you to do, and you'll go out and you perform. Yeah. And I just think we'll go out and win 2-0. I'm confident, mate. I tell you what, it's the most confident I've been going into a Town game for a long time.
I know. Yeah, me too.
Can't wait to get destroyed at 7:30 with my confidence, but
we go 4-0 down.
I'll be texting you like when the fourth goes in about it's just gone well, Cal.
What were it that I can't remember the game that I was messaging you, and like fourth goal went in, I was just put laughing faces.
Weren't we both sat in the stadium as well? I'm sure it was a home game.
Laughing, yeah.
I'm sure we both wasn't even watching the game, and we were just like
Swansea at home.
Yeah, I think it was Swansea. Yeah, and we were both like, well, this is the end.
Well, this is it, isn't it? That was fun, wasn't it?
God, yeah. I think a lot of Town fans around that time were doing the same thing, to be honest, because what else could you do? There's nothing you can do as a fan, so you might as well just laugh at your own team. I didn't want to boo them. I just sat back and watched Swansea play some nice football.
Yeah.
But I think this season is different, and I just think it's a fresh start. I think they're going to turn up. I think we're going to win 2-0. And we're going to show Peterborough that we're not here to mess around and beat them in there. I'd love us to win 4-0. How good would that be? Put that club in the place. I don't know if you have as much hatred towards Peterborough as I do, but I really don't like them.
I do, but when you step back and look at it, it is the most unhinged football rivalry there has ever been.
No, Crystal Palace Brighton's pretty unhinged.
Yeah, that's true. But it makes no sense.
No, I think it stretches all the way back to the 90s as well. So it's like it's quite an ingrained one in our fan base, but it is one of the furthest sort of rivalries that you've got for sure.
100 miles. Whoa, that's a derby, isn't it?
To be fair, Darren McAnthony didn't help when he called our t-shirts crap after the 2011 playoff final. So he stoked. He stoked the flame. He poured petrol on the fire.
He knows what he's done.
and who is it this week? What's his name? The Talk Sport. Adrian Durham. I read his piece, and he was like, "Oh, we have a tested rivalry against Huddersfield Town." I was like, "Mate, you were just stoking the fires of the devil here." Right. So you're going 1-0. I'm going 2-0. Yeah.
Ooh, lovely.
Are you going 1-0? Are you sticking with that?
1-0, yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay, so your top six, Cal. No, in fact, we'll go your bottom four first. We'll leave the top six till the end.
So my bottom four. Bottom, I've got Burton Albion.
Burton? Okay.
Made loads and loads of signings this season, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
The police have turned up for that prediction. 23rd, I've got Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
22nd, I've got Mansfield. And 21st, I've got Crawley, both promoted last year. Don't think they're going to cut the mustard.
Mate, Mansfield that's a big prediction. Did you watch the game last night? They do not look like a relegated side. Have you just decided that now, or did you decide it before that game?
I decided that before that game, and that's why it's highly annoying.
Fair enough. To be fair, that's why that this man is in on the podcast, because he's a true man, and he doesn't change his mind. My bottom four.
I'm all in for terrible predictions all the time.
My bottom four is Birmingham to finish bottom. No, Crawley to finish bottom. They've basically got rid of their whole promoter team, which is absolute madness.
Yeah,
just don't get it. Shrewsbury seems to be everybody's 23rd pick, so everybody hates Shrewsbury this season for some reason.
You're gonna get a T-shirt that just says "Everyone hates Shrewsbury."
Yeah, Northampton's 22nd. I just think it's typical Northampton. Like literally, they get promoted from League Two, they do well the first season, and then they end up going down the second season. And Cambridge, just because it's Gary Monk. There's no reason really.
That works for me.
I just think that they've been poor. I've also got Stephen Exeter and Leighton Orient to be down there, to be fair, but I don't think that they'll be going down. Your top six, Cal.
Right. 6th place, I've got Wigan Athletic.
I've got Lincoln.
They're not in my top 6.
Okay. Neither are Wigan.
Fab. 5th, I've got Rotherham.
Yeah, they are in my top 6, but they're not 5th. 5th, I've got Peterborough.
They're not in my top 6. Never put them in my top 6. 4th, I've got Barnsley.
They're not in my top 6. 4th, I've got Rotherham.
3rd, I've got Bolton.
Yep.
2nd, Huddersfield Town.
No. Yeah, I've got them second. Yeah. I've got a second.
And I guess who I've got first?
Well, I think you've got somebody like Wrexham to win the league.
No, I don't.
No, it's Birmingham with a million.
It's Birmingham. Of course, it's Birmingham.
Yeah.
They are the most dead cert to win any league that has ever been.
If they don't win this League One season, I genuinely think it's a failure. They've spent £13 million, for God's sake.
Yeah. If they don't win this League One, if in January it doesn't look like they're going to win the season, I think they should give us Alfie May. I think that's only fair.
So, just a quick one on that. How cross were you that we missed out on Alfie May? Or are you not that bothered?
Huddersfield Town, isn't it? It's just the most Huddersfield Town thing to happen would be to go for a player and then lose out to a promotion rival in the same division.
Yeah, but on this occasion, I don't think you really can blame the club, because literally he's gone from 4K at Charlton to he was going to be on 8K at us, and Birmingham's come in and said, do you know what, we'll just double your wages from there as well, and pay you 16 grand and a £500,000 relocation fee. I mean,
it's not money that we can keep up with, but it's not money that I'd want us to keep up with, because he's not worth that.
No. And the other thing is, when if you do get promoted with Alfie May, he's not necessarily a championship striker anyway. So
you're gonna have to get rid of him again, and he'll be a year older.
Yeah,
and worth less money.
I love how we both come to this sort of agreement that we didn't want to sign Alfie May.
I hate it.
But I hate's a bit strong.
I've only just realised it now, but actually getting these things out for the first podcast of the new season, it's brought it out of me.
Well, we have come. I think we're going to wrap up there. We have come to the end of the podcast. Thanks everybody for getting involved. Callum, it's lovely to see you for the new season, mate. It's absolutely. Do you know what? I'm so excited until 7:30 tonight when I text you and we've lost. But up until now, up until 5:30, I'm going to be absolutely buzzing. I think we're going to do more regular Wednesday shows if we can get Callum on board and if Zach's not flying all over the planet. But yeah, we're probably going to do preview and review shows on a Wednesday night. So look out for them. Callum, lovely to have you on the show, mate. And let's hope for a town win, eh?
Town win all the way.
Up the town, everybody. Right, see you later. Goodbye.
Ta-ra.